Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hosts Melanie Johnson and Jen Foster are the owners of Elite Online Publishing. They're both Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling authors. We're really glad you're here because this podcast was designed for you. Meet industry experts that share their secrets and strategies. Get successful results for your business in money, relationships, health, and your life. Each episode is going to inspire you to take action towards reaching your greatness.
Hey everyone, welcome. It's Melanie Johnson, your host today, along with Jen Foster. Hey Jen.
Hey everyone, how's it going today?
Yeah, what's happening? So we are having a great week so far. We hope you are too. So we have a special guest, Tony Wang, with us today. He helps experts, teachers, and practitioners break through their online business. But his practices really are great for any business because he helped in multiple 8-figure online advertising businesses create success. So we want to know his process. How did you make these online businesses super successful, hit 8 figures? And, he's in that spirituality space is his niche for his business, but what he's going to teach us can work for anybody's business. So I'm excited to learn all of his inside secrets to help us so we can help you too. Welcome, Tony. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Jen. It's my pleasure to be here.
Tell us, Tony, a little bit of your background and how you got into the space.
Yeah, so I feel like I was always an entrepreneur at heart, and it was something I was always called to. So for instance, when I was in college, I wrote a book on skateboarding, an ebook, because I was a skateboarder in high school. I had no idea what I was doing as far as marketing it. I think I literally just paid some kid who had skateboarding videos on YouTube to put my link in his YouTube videos, like paid him like $50 or something. And that's how I got all the traffic, all the sales. No idea what I was doing, but it worked. And that helped me pay for some of my tuition in college, some beer money. I thought it was, such a great side project. But then when it came time to graduate, and I had a chemistry degree, I was like, oh, you know what? Like I have to go pursue a real job. I have to go to graduate school or get a real job because this like internet marketing thing, it's nice, but it's not sustainable. And then my last year in college, I got really sick. I had to go to the hospital. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness. And that was a big wake up call for me. And when I recovered from that, the lesson I learned there was to just go after my dreams, not worry about what my parents expected of me or what, what people wanted me to do, but just really go after my dreams. And from there, I decided, all right, I'm just going to become an entrepreneur and sell stuff online. And that's what I've been doing since.
I love that. So you really have specialized in marketing. How do you most people have no idea, right? They start their company, they get their product or service that they want to do to help people. And they're like, oh, marketing, I got to be an expert at marketing too. So how do you start from square one to help someone market and grow their business? What are some of the first things that when you walk into a company, this is what you should be doing?
Sure. Yeah. So I'd say the most important thing before anything else is just understand who you're marketing and selling to. And the biggest mistake I see people is they're so wrapped up in their own services and their own products because they're around it all the time, they're passionate about it, that they forget that it's really there to solve someone's problem. And from the customer's point of view, they really don't even care about your products or services. They just want to fix whatever problem they're going through. And if you can really find out what those desires are, what their problems, their frustrations, their fears, their worries, their insecurities, all those things at a really deep level, that shows them you understand them. And from there, the product is the natural solution rather than trying to sell them something or pitch them something that they don't really see is relevant. So that's like the foundational part of marketing. And that's just a lot of research. It's not fun. It's not really sexy to talk about as opposed to, like different hacks and funnels and all of that stuff. But it's really the cornerstone of what makes marketing work.
I like that because really knowing the client first or knowing the person, the buyer first is really what kind of matters, right? So you know how to market to them.
Yeah, exactly. It's being relevant. It's because we get bombarded with so many marketing messages, so many ads. So something that really speaks to them as an individual and makes you stand out, that's what's going to get people's attention.
Well, how do you make yourself different than the competition, especially like in the space that you're dealing with? There's a lot of people in the spirituality space. There's people, we have competition in the publishing space. So no matter what you're trying to sell, even if it's a spinny on Amazon, how do you make yourself different and stand out?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's something called levels of market awareness, and it's by this copywriter named Eugene Schwartz, who came up with the idea. And the idea is that you really have to get an idea of the level of awareness as far as the problem and the solution you're selling in terms of the market, like what stage are they at? Are they, do they not even realize that they have a problem, or do they know they have a problem, but they don't know what the solution is, or do they know what the solution is, but they don't know which brand to pick? You have to know where they're generally at. And then you have to figure out what your competitors are doing too. If they're bombarded with ads all day, or if no one is selling them something similar. So, and based on that's how you craft your message. So as an example, like let's take fitness. Someone creates a product, how to get a six pack in, like 6 months. And, for some time that's going to work, but then someone else is going to come along and create how to get a six pack in 3 months. And then it goes shorter and shorter, shorter. And then you get like 6-minute abs. And then from there, that you can't just increase the hype, you can't increase the results, you kind of have to increase believability, because now people have like heard all these claims and like, yeah, I don't even believe it anymore. So now you have to introduce a new mechanism. So it's instead of doing sit-ups, you can get a six pack by doing these exercises. I don't know, body weight exercises or whatever it would be. So you would change the mechanism there, and that's how you stand out, is by making it more believable, by introducing a new mechanism, something people haven't heard before.
So something they haven't heard before, which is hard to do because there's so much noise out there. So you've got to really be creative to figure out what that is. Is there a system that you walk through when you are looking with your thing? Like you're saying, so you get your offer, you figure out what's different, you refine it and go in deep for that. Do you have a process for that?
Yeah, I have a list of 40 questions or over 40 questions that I ask before I start any new projects. So it's just a bunch of questions on market research, on the market, the product, the competition, what's worked in the past. A lot of it can be answered just by knowing the product. Other things you kind of have to talk to people or browse on forums and just see what people are really struggling with. Nowadays, you can use AI to do some of the work. So you can use ChatGPT to do some of the research, although I wouldn't recommend it for the entire process, because it's always best to talk to a real person, spy on them through forums and see what they're saying. But once I have all that information, then I can begin thinking about what's the best way to enter it. So there's no formula like, just do this and it's instantly going to stand out, because it is a case by case basis based on the market, the product, the competition, and those sorts of factors.
You talked a little bit about ChatGPT. I know a lot of people are using that to write their copy on their websites or write their copy for social media posts or something. So you have a system called conscious copywriting. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the idea with conscious copywriting is there's different levels of, we can see there's different levels, or we can make a model of different levels of consciousness in people, or different types of people. Like some people that, let's say they would sign up for a payday loan offer. They're really struggling. They need something, they need money now. They're just kind of in that stress and fear mindset. And the marketing for that audience would be more urgency. It would really highlight their pain. It's, you use a lot of attention grabbing colors, or create some, like, say, fear or desire, because it kind of resonates with those people. But if you're selling something like let's just say a luxury spiritual retreat, and you use those things like countdown timers, urgency, just like the kind of like the infomercial marketing tactics, it's not going to work, because those people are at a different level of consciousness. So for those types of people, you have to be have to speak their language, and they're going to make decisions based on intuition, not so much pressure. So that's the idea there. And it's important to know who you're selling to and if they're more intellectually minded, more intuitive, more willful. And I got all of this from my mentor, Scott Oldford, by the way. I wish it was me who came up with this model, but that really helps you connect with who you're speaking with and not just, hey, I learned this marketing tactic on using a scarcity and urgency countdown timer, so I'm going to apply it to my campaign when it might not even work.
That makes a lot of sense, because if you know your audience is going to be turned away right when they see the countdown timer and the urgency, because that's not what the space that they're in. Right?
Exactly.
Or a spirituality retreat, right?
Right.
Yeah, we've done funnels and we've had authors do funnels, and we have people that we know in other business that do them. And sometimes they just don't work, right? So it's like, how do you make it work? And you get frustrated. You're like, okay, we tried that. We've done, a webinar they go into our landing page, and then it just, okay, that was a waste of time. We didn't get anybody. So how do you really make it work without having to beat your head against the wall? I like the tips about really knowing your audience, and if it's more sophisticated, maybe not be the infomercial type, but what else should people be doing? Should they even decide maybe funnels aren't for us?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm not a funnels expert by any means. I've built them before. I've helped other people build them, but my main expertise lies in media buying and ads. So I would say, from an ad perspective, on how to get someone to click on the ad, it's really just about grabbing their attention and making it relevant. So you can apply this same idea to funnels. You just have to apply it every single step of the way, rather than just on the initial ad. So the relevancy is what I think most people miss, and they just create a headline or an offer that's not really what people want, or they don't express it in a way that is desirable, or they don't get their attention, so people miss it in the first place. So there's all those factors. I would say, as a practical thing, to kind of avoid spending your time doing all those, making the funnel, building out the webinars, and doing all those time consuming things, and then just launching it and having to scrap it, is to kind of test it first with either a warm audience or your email list, and just know that the offer works, because the offer is the most important part. And then from there, you can build out the rest. And something cool you can do on Facebook, and this is what I do now with my clients, is I'll test different pain points as ads. So it's just an ad on Facebook with some text, and then and then every ad is just one pain point. So let's say for spirituality, it's I'm having trouble finding inner peace. Another one is I want a new method to resolve self-sabotage. Another one could be I want to feel better in my body. Whatever. We can just come up with a ton of those relevant to our offer, and then we just run traffic, link clicks. And that's the cheapest type of traffic. It's not going to convert. People aren't going to buy your stuff, but they're going to click your ad. And then based on what messages are resonating with people, which messages are getting the highest click through, you can take those learnings and apply them to your webinars, to your sales funnels, to your emails, because that's what people was responding to. Otherwise, they wouldn't be clicking this over the other ones. So that's the idea there. And it's basically it's basically a way to test your ideas before going full on and launching them.
So are Facebook ads dead?
I definitely wouldn't say they're dead. I would say they've evolved a lot since the 2011 to 2020. They're changing a lot, but they're definitely not dead.
Do you feel like there's a certain threshold you have to spend in order to really get traction on Facebook and Instagram ads, or even Google ads?
Yeah, I don't have that much experience with Google. I would say it really depends on what you're selling too. Like if you're selling an e-commerce product that's, let's say, $20, $30, your budget's going to be different than selling a high ticket coaching for 10,000, right? Because for a high ticket coaching program, if you make 10,000 every time someone signs up, you can spend say 5,000, 6,000 on ads and you're still profitable. Whereas for e-commerce, selling a lower ticket item, then you don't want to spend $7,000 before you find out that the campaign doesn't work. So it kind of depends. Yeah. So I would aim for maybe twice your revenue or cost per acquisition. So if it costs you, if you make $100, then spend $200 before giving up if it doesn't work.
What platforms do you like best for ads right now?
So I just got back into media buying. So I had my advertising company until 2020-ish. And then after COVID, I kind of just took a break. I actually shut everything down because I just felt it wasn't aligned with what I wanted to do. I focused deep on spirituality, and now I'm getting back into marketing. So I'm just on Facebook right now myself because I feel like it's just a great way to test different ideas, and there's just so many users on it.
Tell us where people can go to find you and to get more information about hiring.
Yeah, so I actually just launched my personal brand website. It's tonywang.gg.
Awesome. Put that up in the show notes for people to go there and read all about you.
Thanks for
Awesome.
coming, Tony. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's my pleasure.
So if you're thinking about writing a book, make sure you connect with us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Thanks for coming again. We hope you were inspired and educated again this week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.